I've recently realized that many people around me are quick to label something as CG even when presented with credible sources. Even smart individuals were hesitant to believe that the footage shown was real. This made me wonder how many UFO videos out there might be genuine, but we dismiss them as being too good to be true. When discussing UFO videos, it's common to hear arguments that they are either too blurry and distant. We basically describe them as dots in the sky, not worth our attention. But interestingly, as soon as more detail is shown, we are quick to qualify them as computer-generated. In reality, the credibility of the source should be the determining factor. The more trustworthy the observer, the more weight we should give to the footage. Here is astronaut Donald Slayton describing a sighting he had when piloting his plane.
As I closed on this thing, well, it looked like a weather balloon, and that's what I presumed it was. And I had plenty of gas and time, so I decided I'd just come back around and make a pass on it. And this thing all of a sudden it didn't look like a balloon anymore. It looked like a saucer sitting on edge, about a 45-degree angle. And about that time, I guess whatever it was, for whatever reason, just took off climbing at about a 45-degree angle and just accelerated and disappeared.
My name is David Charles Grush. I was an intelligence officer for 14 years. Following concerning reports from multiple esteemed and credentialed current and former military and intelligence community individuals that the U.S. government is operating with secrecy above congressional oversight with regards to UAPs. My testimony is based on information I've been given by individuals with a long-standing track record of legitimacy and service to this country, many of whom also have shared compelling evidence in the form of photography, official documentation, and classified oral testimony. I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
My question is for Mr. Nelson. You said at the beginning of the meeting that that NASA will be transparent. Well, a month and a half ago, Mr. David Grush said under oath in Congress that the U.S. government is in possession of UAPs and extraterrestrial life. How can you be sure at NASA that other parts of the U.S. government is being transparent?
I don't speak for other parts of the government, but I can tell you NASA, which I speak for, is open and transparent with our data.
Do you believe what Mr. David Grush said, or is he lying?
You would want me to give a personal opinion?
Yes, please.
Of what he said. What he said, if I recall having seen this on the nightly news, was that he had a friend that knew where a warehouse was that had an UFO locked up in a warehouse. He also said he had another friend that said that he had parts of an alien.
He did interview over 40 employees at the Pentagon.
Long time ago, there was a TV show, Jack Friday, and he used to say, just the facts, just the facts. Show me the evidence.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we will go to the phones. Again, I know people have lots of questions, but I'm going to try to keep us to just to one for each person. And so next person on the phone.
Given the official stance, it seems our only hope of obtaining credible video evidence would be through a leak, as happened in 2017, which forced the government's hand. In the meantime, we are left with no choice but to explore various sources, ranging from the dubious on TikTok to more credible ones. such as this footage recorded in the small coastal town of Kumburgaz, Turkey.
And it was really early in the morning when there's just a small little sliver of light blue on the horizon. Flying with another captain and a flight engineer on the DC-10. So there's 3 cockpit crew members. And all of a sudden I saw some type of glint out of the corner of my eye and looked up. It was probably at around 30 degrees in inclination and maybe about the 10 o'clock position from our aircraft. And 3 large discs. And, you know, I hate to sound cliche for that, but 3 large discs in a triangular formation actually came into the atmosphere, glinting off the sun that was over the horizon. We had another aircraft in front of us. They saw it, we saw it, and we were talking with them. And it was such a short period. We only saw it for maybe 15 seconds. And we asked them, are they going to tell anybody? And they're like, no, we're not going to say anything. Are you? No, we're not going to say anything either. Because these things, when they came in and reoriented themselves in the atmosphere, they accelerated. It wasn't even really saying they were accelerating because they were at speed and gone over the horizon in just a matter of a couple of seconds.
Let's go back.
We now have hundreds of testimonies from pilots and high-ranking military personnel describing similar phenomena. If their assessments are accurate, some of these videos are likely to be genuine. This particular footage underwent analysis by visual effects experts, who confirmed that the object was not digitally added but ultimately couldn't rule out the possibility that it might have been suspended in the air.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers. The Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States. In pursuit of this obligation, since 1947, we have received and analyzed between 1,000 and 2,000 reports that have come to us from all kinds of sources. Of this great mass of reports, we have been able adequately to explain the great bulk of them, explain them to our own satisfaction. We've been able to explain them as hoaxes, as erroneously identified friendly aircraft, as meteorological or electronic phenomena, or as light aberrations. However, there have been a certain percentage of this volume of reports that have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things. It is this group of observations that we now are attempting to resolve. Our basic difficulty in dealing with these is that there is no measurement of them that makes it possible for us to put them in any pattern that would be profitable for a deliberate, custom sort of analysis to take the next step.
At the very least, none of the videos presented here have been claimed by any visual artists.
But at the time, I was flying. I had flown during the Gulf War, had like over 300 combat flight hours during the Gulf War. This was just after the Gulf War. This was in 1992. And I was out on what was going to be my last deployment. And I looked straight up. So we're going this way. I looked straight up, and there's the most pristine black triangle. The tips were rounded. The corners on the underside were very bright. Here we are, we're all looking up, all of us, three or four, and all of a sudden this horn starts blowing. We're now crouched down, and we hear over the speaker system called the 1MC, over the ship's announcement system, emergency breakaway, emergency breakaway.
Triangles are probably the most commonly reported UFO shape seen at night.
What is that? Bro, what the fuck?
But the general population is more willing to accept them as authentic when they are far away. However, as soon as they appear up close, doubts start to emerge.
Myself, Representative Burchett, and Representative Gates had attended an Air Force base, and we were blocked not only by the Pentagon but by the Department of the Air Force from seeing information, talking to witnesses. And after much arm twisting, we got some of the information. But the fact is that they answer to Congress and thus the American people. And any government entity that attempts to stonewall us is doing nothing in the invested interest of the American people. When I take at face value the numerous roadblocks that we've been presented with, it leads me to believe that they are indeed hiding information.
Unfortunately, these videos have become increasingly easier to fake over the years. We are entering a new era where artificial intelligence enables a level of realism that is virtually indistinguishable from reality. Now more than ever, we rely on our institutions for clarity. Yet, there is a growing disconnect between what whistleblowers are claiming and the official government stance. How can we ever progress if officials are blocking access to data?
I should also state clearly for the record that in our research, AARO has found no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial activity, off-world technology, or objects that defy the known laws of physics. In the event sufficient scientific data were ever obtained that a UAP encountered can only be explained by extraterrestrial origin, we are committed to working with our interagency partners at NASA to appropriately inform U.S. government's leadership of its findings. For those few cases that have leaked to the public previously and subsequently commented on by the U.S. government, I encourage those who hold alternative theories or views to submit your research to credible peer-reviewed scientific journals.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
And where?
I know the exact locations, and those locations were provided to the Inspector General.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Do you have any information that the U.S. government is involved in a disinformation campaign to deny the existence of certain UAPs?
I can't go beyond what I've already stated publicly in my News Nation interview because it touches other sensitivities.
At this point, we will need something of this quality to be officially endorsed. Then there will be no ambiguity. Contact your government representative and demand full transparency.